The clown who haunted Florida, the bizarre murder of Marlene Warren. It was a May morning in 1990, a day like any other in the quiet town of Wellington, Florida, when the unthinkable happened. A clown came to Marlene Warren's door, bearing a bouquet of vibrant carnations and a bundle of colorful balloons. But instead of bringing joy, the clown delivered death in front of Marlene's horrified son. This eerie incident marked the beginning of a case so bizarre and unsettling that it could only happen in the Sunshine State. Marlene Warren, a 40-year-old mother, had no reason to expect anything out of the ordinary on that fateful day. She lived a seemingly idyllic life with her husband, Michael, and their family. But the arrival of the clown would shatter the tranquility of their suburban existence and forever etch their names into the annals of Florida's most peculiar crimes. The clown, wearing a colorful costume and a painted smile, handed Marlene the carnations and balloons, a seemingly innocent gesture. But what happened next would haunt her son, Joseph Aarons, for the rest of his life. Without warning, the clown pulled out a concealed weapon and fired a single, fatal shot, leaving Marlene dead on the threshold of her own home. The shock waves of this gruesome crime rippled through the town. The image of a clown, traditionally a symbol of laughter and joy, now forever associated with a cold-blooded murder, sent a chill down the spine of every resident. Marlene's son, Joseph, had witnessed the horrifying scene and was forever scarred by the sight of his mother's murder. In the immediate aftermath, investigators were left with more questions than answers. Who could commit such a heinous act? And why? The only clue they had was the clown costume, which concealed the killer's identity. It was a mystery that would baffle law enforcement for years. The puzzle unfolds. As detectives delved into the baffling case, they discovered a web of intrigue that seemed straight out of a crime novel. Marlene's husband, Michael Warren, was initially seen as a possible suspect. Rumors swirled that Michael and Marlene's marriage had been strained, and she had contemplated leaving him. Her fear of what might happen if she did was evident when she allegedly told her mother, "If anything happens to me, Mike done it." Michael was no stranger to legal trouble. In 1994, he was convicted of grand theft, racketeering, and odometer tampering related to his used car business. He served nearly 4 years in prison, with some speculating that his lengthy sentence was due to suspicions of involvement in his wife's murder. Nevertheless, he was never charged in connection with Marlene's death, and he consistently denied any involvement. The investigation soon uncovered another layer of complexity. Witnesses alleged that Michael Warren and Sheila Keen were involved in an extramarital affair. Sheila Keen was an employee at Michael's used car lot at the time of the murder, and she was later identified as the woman who had bought a clown costume a few days prior to the shooting. Detectives were faced with the possibility that Marlene's murder might be linked to this affair. As the investigation progressed, witnesses from a costume shop claimed that Sheila had purchased a clown suit shortly before the murder. Additionally, Employees at a public supermarket near her home recalled a woman resembling Sheila buying balloons with an eerily prophetic message, "You're the greatest." Those balloons were found at the crime scene. The mounting evidence began to point the finger at Sheila Keen-Warren. The most damning piece of evidence came in the form of a white Chrysler convertible, the presumed getaway car. The vehicle was discovered abandoned and contained orange, hair-like fibers. The car had been reported stolen from Michael Warren's car lot a month prior to the murder. Both Sheila Keen and her then-husband were known to repossess cars for Michael's business. This detail further incriminated Sheila in the eyes of investigators. The suspicions and twisted allegiances. The twisted allegiances and suspicions surrounding the case only deepened. Sheila Keen-Warren had a staunch defender in her attorney, Greg Rosenfeld.
Miss Keen-Warren's innocent. She's not, taking this plea because she committed this crime. She's taking this plea for the same reason that a lot of people do in our criminal justice system.
He maintained that the state's case was flawed, and he argued that the evidence against her was circumstantial at best. The hair found in the getaway car, initially seen as a breakthrough in the case, was not without its issues. One DNA sample showed both male and female genes, creating confusion and doubt. The second sample could have matched 1 out of every 20 women, including Marlene Warren herself. Rosenfeld contended that the hairs might have been deposited before the car was reported stolen. Despite the apparent connection between Sheila Keen-Warren and the purchase of the clown costume and balloons, her defense raised doubts. Rosenfeld claimed that the witness who identified her as the buyer of the balloons was not completely certain, suggesting the possibility of mistaken identity. Additionally, Joseph Aarons, Marlene's son and the sole witness to the murder, contradicted some key aspects of the case. He and another witness argued that the car found by deputies was not the same vehicle they had seen on the day of the murder. Investigators remained convinced, but the doubts sown by the defense led to questions about the strength of the case against Sheila. The unsettling conclusion. The case that had captivated Florida for decades finally came to an unsettling conclusion in 2022. Sheila Keen-Warren, 59 years old and long suspected as the clown killer, pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. In an unexpected twist, she did so while still maintaining her innocence. Her plea deal would likely result in her release from prison within a year.
She finally accepted responsibility and pleaded guilty to murdering Marlene
The
Warren.
Palm Beach County State Attorney, Dave Ehrenberg, emphasized that the plea deal had achieved a measure of justice for Marlene Warren and her son. The case had faced numerous challenges over the years, including the death of key witnesses and the passage of 3 decades. Ehrenberg conceded that there were holes in the case, a result of the extended time it took to bring it to trial. The strange and perplexing story of Marlene Warren's murder, the clown who committed it, and the subsequent legal battles may never reveal the full truth. It remains one of Florida's most enigmatic and unsettling crimes.
We finally have closure. Now she can rest.